Hello, it's Claire. Welcome to this video in English. So this video is an answer of a tag of Simon from the Hermit's cave. And I'm going to do the video in French and in English, and I start with the English part. So the tag is the Circle of Friends. It's quite an old tag, but I didn't have the time to do it, and I was just thinking about it while I was running. I just come back from running, and I find it quite fun and light, so I find it quite a good opportunity to share decks. So in the English video I will show, I will answer the questions with decks in English, and in the French video I will answer the question with decks in French. So because it's quite difficult to do the same tag in French and English, so it's gonna be more fun to do it with different decks. So the first one is the Brutally Honest Confident deck, and I have chosen the Anake Tarot. So this is a deck I have for many years, and I like the way this deck is answering, as it is quite down to earth. I'm a quite mental person. I think about lots of things. I am always thinking. I overthink things, and I've got this difficulty to be down to earth. So that's why this deck is a reminder that life is something that is real, that is something you feel, something you do, and not something you think. Sometimes I need to go back to very simple things of the life, and this deck is always a reminder for this. And I really appreciate the simplicity of the deck, the simplicity also of the way the cards are depicted, like the world too. It's not something about the life path, what our soul has to do. It's something about just live. It reminds me of the Osho Tarot too. The Osho Zen Tarot. You've got this type of message of doing things, and that spirituality, deepness. No, is it the word? I don't know. Going deep inside is something you do when you do simple things from the life. So sometimes it really quite struck me, and say, oh yeah, yes, thank you. Come back to life, to just the life you are living day to day, talking to people, having a walk, running, laughing with my child, with my friends, eating something that is good. Things are painful sometimes, but it's part of life, and then you can go, you can stand up and continue to walk. Sorry, and so the people also, they are very common people, just as we all are. They are not very beautiful and incredibly gorgeous people. They are just normal people living a life, a day-to-day life. Love this queen. I love the Judgment. It's like it makes me think of the Platon cave. So this is the Brutally Honest Confident deck, my Brutally Honest Confident deck. The second one is the Wise Mentor, I have only chosen tarot. I needed to restrict me because I've got I think something like 300 decks, so I've chosen only tarot. So the Wise Mentor is for me the Dark Goddess Tarot. I've got quite a strange story with this deck because I'm not quite a huge fan of the drawings. So I bought first the book, the PDF book, and then started working with the book and the application on my phone. And it was so powerful, so wise, so interesting. Love this fool. That I decided to have this deck, and I had the opportunity to have it through a trade. And it is so, yes, so such a wise way of how to say it. You've got, in fact, through the goddesses, very human experiences and wise counseling, wise advice from the goddesses. And when I need something very profound and adjusted, I use this deck, and I've used it a lot. I've got the application, so sometimes I just use the application. When I have not the cards, I use it. I take the time with these cards. I'm not using it as a for 10. I don't use 10 card spreads. It's only one card spread or 2 or 3, but not more. And I really take the time to read the book, the PDF book, and work with the messages and the wisdom of the card of the goddess. So this is this one, the Polar Opposite deck. So this is the deck that I thought I would not like it, and that is very different from what I normally like. And this is the Spirit Speak Tarot deck. So I adore the box, the little box, the little book, and the little cards. But when I first saw this deck, I was thinking, well, it's something like there is a kid who have drawn who did the illustrations. It's the illustrations are quite strange. You've got a long, but strange way of depicting the hands, and yes, some cards are really really strange. And in fact, I don't know. I had the opportunity to have this deck through a trade, and so first of all, I loved the box, as I said before, and I like the messages I have with this deck. It is black and white. It is very simple, very small. I can do very rapid readings. I only use it for me, and there's something quite simple, quite basic, with only sort of only few things on the card, and then you see directly the meaning. And I love the High Priestess, even if I don't find the card really beautiful. There's something that speaks to me in this High Priestess, about the snake going out of the mouth and going through the the crystal ball and come back to the third eye. Something in the you see through the third eye, and you've got the moon. Something very simple in the Judgment. This deck is not a serious deck. It hasn't been made with very serious way of drawing, and sometimes I find the book a little bit superficial, so I'm not using a lot the book, but I have done some very interesting readings with it. I love the Emperor. Look, you've got you've got the house, and so you've got the sense of the structure. You've got the sense of you take care of your domain, your your land, where you live, what you have constructed. So it's something very a sense of the number 4 in this card. So I think this deck is really well inspired, and you've got lots of eggs, and so I didn't expect to like this deck that much, and so that's why sometimes when you don't connect to a deck and then you have the opportunity to have it, or to test it, you've got a friend who has it, it's a good, or you've got the application, for instance, you can have the application, you pay €5 to have the application, so it gives you an idea of how it can work with you, and then you can have surprises, and just as sometimes you want a deck, and then you have it, and finally you don't use it. Sometimes you've got the opposite, and it's quite an amazing experience. The funny one, the one who makes me laugh. So this is the funniest deck I have. I mean, it's not maybe the one that would seem funny for everyone, but for me it's really a funny deck. I love, you can open and you've got something like a box with a munition, and then you've got lots of story. They have developed a sort of word in this tarot. So inside you've got advertising, get your very own trained zombie. So there's a lot of humor. I love zombie films, and also I've got a sort of view of the world like a very dangerous world. The world is very dangerous and could have some in fact, this deck is something that is the way I see the world, and everything, you've got a lot of funny things in the deck. That is the things I can think or react to the world that I find very dangerous. And it's sort of, when I see this deck, I see the way I see the world. I see the way it is different from the reality. I love, for instance, you've got a granny with a, she's got, you know, the specific shoes when you are inside, and that granny are using, and then she's powerful, and she's got a gun. And it's so funny. It's the grandmother I would like to be later. You've got this, okay, something is very maybe frightening, but you can read and just relax and just don't care about what's frightened you. You can be friends with somebody who is really different from you and who is scary. And so you've got lots of message, and it's sort of lessons of, it's sort of funny lessons for life. Life is not that heavy. I have a strong way of heaviness of life. You've got to do things, and things are really important, and this makes me laugh and makes me think that, oh no, things are not that important. Things are not that heavy. You can just enjoy and do what you have to do, and sometimes just also accept the bad things you are doing, or the things you could think about, and I don't know. Sometimes you can think that maybe babies are creepy, because yes, they are creepy babies. Sometimes they are creepy. They are not all the nice and the way we can see it in film and so on. So then you can accept. You can see some babies are creepy, or you can see that. Okay, you and your mom, you are very different, and okay, you can maybe connect with something else that you can do together. You've got there's one of the card I really like. You've got a woman. Yes, that's this one. I love this one. The woman, to escape, she just throw her husband in the stairs to feed the zombie. I love this, because sometimes we are just like this. That's the bad side of human people, and okay, we can just accept what we are, and how we can react sometimes that are not really a high level of consciousness. So it helps me accepting my humanity, my bad sides, and so it makes me laugh a lot. And I really love zombie. It's my favorite. These are the favorite kind of favorite films I really love. So this one, and the loyal best friend. I have hesitated to choose the shapeshifters. No, not shapeshifters. I've got the French version, but you will the Shadowscapes tarot, and so between this one and between this one. So I've used a lot this one, and now I'm using a lot this one. This is the second edition. This tarot has something very special, and the images are really well chosen, and there's something very sweet, very powerful, and really easy to read. For me, it's one of the easiest deck to read. I love some twists they did. For instance, this one, I really love this Three of Pentacles. They are not shown as usual, but there's something very interesting in this deck. I love the majors. It's a beautiful, soft, full of light, of delicatessen. I don't know if you can say this. It's really well, of course it's beautiful, and you've got a sense of old times, and I feel at home. It's all my dreams also. There's a lot of poetry, a lot of dream. You've got art also. I'm very sensitive to art. I love going to to museums, so I can recognize some type of art, and even if you mainly have things coming from postcards, I think, something like, so this one looks like a postcard. It's really romantic, so this is also, my inner child is feeling really well. Oh, I love the Queen of Cups. I love it. I love this Queen of Cups. It reminds me old myths, old stories, all yes, all the stories. And I love also the card, the quality of the cards. I like the yes, it's this like this. Looks like the romantic paintings during the Renaissance. I don't know what's the name in English. The 16th century. Look at the sun. Everything was really well chosen. All the drawings. It's really intelligent, a bright deck. I hesitate to take the new version, but it's really expensive, so maybe I could buy a new deck and not a second version of this one. But also my friend Celia has the new version, so oh! I would love to, yes, just see the new version and have it for the collection, but then I have to choose, and I decided not to take another deck, so I don't know. I'm going to wait a little bit. So you've got, I will show the Shadowscapes. Everybody's know this tarot, but what I like in this deck, which is another one, which is a best friend. First, yes, the art is very important for me. I've got my friend bought. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drawings from reproductions of these drawings from the artist. So I really feel the world of this tarot, and you've got a sort of dreamy. Yes, a sort of dreamy world, and you've got lots of details you can work on. So for inspiration or working on something more intuitive, you've got lots of details. And I love because this deck also because you've got a lot of animals, and you see here this is the French version. I'll show you the cards. So the cards are standard, but you've got a silver gilding, and it's sorry, what's the name? You've got a sort of plastic on it. So the colors, you've got the way you see the colors a little different, and I quite like this. And like the way it is written. In the English version, I've cut all the titles. I only have the images, but in this French version, I like the way the editor did the cards. And also you've got a very beautiful book, full color, so you can see the images in color. So that's really a good job of from the editor. So I hope you understood what I've said. I used to speak English quite a lot, but it was many years ago. And now I have difficulties to find my words. And also when I used to speak English a lot, it was about fiberglass and chemistry and not about cards and personal development and spirituality. So I have the words, but sometimes I don't say them quite very well, and so I'm sorry for this, but I wanted to do it in English as the author of the tag is Simon, and I really like him, and wanted to share this with the English spoken community. So thank you for watching, and bye bye.